You are listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast, hosted by Leah Brueggemann and Katherine Johnson.
We are bringing you conversations about topics you might feel strongly about but are too afraid to begin. How we navigate entrepreneurship as a wife and a mom without losing ourselves in either identity. We want to open the conversation on how we continue to grow in our faith while pursuing our passions. How strong communities of women help us to grow personally and ways to foster them. And taboo subjects no one wants to bring up.
Don't need to be a business owner, a wife, or a mom to come join us. All you have to have is a desire for discussions that scratch deeper than the surface. Hey guys, we are back. I mean, you listened to us last week, but anyways,
for us,
we're
it's
back.
been a while because we are trying to be smart and batch our podcast. So for us, we're like, oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's very true. So today we thought we would talk about finding mom friends. And I have to laugh about this because I told Katherine I actually don't know how to find mom friends. So, but I found Katherine and we're friends and we're moms. So, I guess we're doing something right, even though we live like not in the same state. So I'm going to let Katherine start this one off, and then I'm going to put my 2 cents in that aren't really worth anything at this moment.
Well, yeah, you chime in whenever you want to. It was kind of a good segue because you just said like, we're friends and we're moms. And to me, like that's actually a kind of a key factor in finding mom friends, quote unquote. Like you don't necessarily have to like have mom friends who like have kids the exact same age as your kids, like the same gender. Like it can be like, oh, like Leah and I, for example, we went to high school together for a brief period. And then like, we never really were like friends in high school. Not like we didn't get along. We just never like knew each other super well. And then like years later we've connected and we're moms as well. So
Yeah.
that's like, I think that you have to like look at it as there's like 2 kinds of mom friends almost. Like there's the mom friends who you're going to be like friends with pretty much more for the sake of your kids. Like maybe you and this mom, like you get along fine, but it's not like you're going to want to hang out with them and like go to coffee all the time or like have mom dates where it's just you and her. Maybe it's more for the kids. So you plan play dates versus like the 2 of you just going out without the kids.
Yeah,
And then
that
you're
makes
going to
sense.
then you're going to have mom friends who it's like the full package, quote unquote. It's like you and her get along super, super well. You can like talk forever about anything and everything and like have good laughs. And then your kids get along well also. So like, yeah, I feel like there's 2 different kinds. And my really close mom friends who are like the full package, I was pretty much friends with first before becoming a mom. Or like with you, it's like we reconnected and we're like, oh, we have kids now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So for me, like my close friends, I was like pretty much friends with already. And then we became moms and now our kids get along great. And so that's awesome. So now it's like I'll have like one of my really good friends over and our kids are close in age and they play while we have our coffee and we talk.
Yeah.
And then like there are my friends though too, who it's like I don't really hang out with them unless our kids are going to be there and we're going to meet up at the park or we're gonna, I don't know, go to coffee and then go to the park. Like we're just getting coffee to like have something to do or at the park. I don't know. So I don't know. For me personally, like that's kind of what I found.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I feel I put in here one of the main things you have to do to get mom friends is you have to actually exit the house. And that kind of just, it makes me laugh because I don't follow my own advice. This
So
is why I
though.
don't have mom friends.
That's so true though. Like it's really isolating. Like it can be isolating. Like being a mom can be isolating. Like,
Yeah.
because it's, especially if you're like a stay-at-home mom or even like a work from home mom, like you and your kid are together all day, all the time. They're your whole world. So it's great. But like, that is kind of isolating in a way. Like thankfully we do have technology now where you can FaceTime and call people and Zoom and all the things, but like, that's not the same as having people in person. But
Yeah.
it's true.
No,
You
I
just
get
gotta
that.
like get out of the house sometimes or like honestly, like we have a park that's a few blocks down the street from us, and it's a really great park. And like
Hmm.
sometimes I just literally have to just make myself be like, we haven't spent time outside. We really need to spend time outside. So let's go to the park. And then you might just randomly get in a conversation with someone. And then who knows, you might find a good play date for your kid. Like,
No,
you
it's
never
true.
know.
I also feel like one of my really good friends that I actually met as an adult, which I feel like is important to note because I feel like a lot of people's really close friends, they, like you said, they've grown up with or they have
Hmm.
some sort of background. I I don't even remember how she was with a makeup company and she was like, "Hey, can I do a makeover on you?" And I was like, "Sure." No problem. And I didn't really know her at the time. And those first couple like interactions, I feel like are never going to be you have this soul deep conversation
Yeah.
3 minutes in, and
Yeah.
it may be a little bit awkward. There may be like silences where you both are kind of just going, oh, okay. But we're really good friends now. And what I found to be the most helpful with that is and it's almost that someone has to get vulnerable
Yeah.
to make that connection, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And whether that's like, hey, everything's not perfect, or my kid's not sleeping and I feel like I'm losing my mind. Do you want to go for a walk? And you're like, oh my gosh, that's what my life's like. Instead of,
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of times with new acquaintances, maybe this is just me, you never talk about the harder things that are going on, or, this is something that we're struggling with, or my life's not perfect. And you don't want to do it as a victim, like, oh my gosh, my life is so hard.
Yeah.
Please help me. I'm not talking about that. But literally, just being open, I think, is really helpful because that gives them permission to also open up. And that's how I think you form that friendship. I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
feel like we formed that friendship.
Yeah.
And she has kids, and then I had Landon. And so I guess we qualify for mom friends.
Yeah.
Um, so there is that that I feel like was really, really helpful. It's almost like you kind of find someone where you feel like maybe you would groove with them, and then you have to put the effort into getting to know them.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I feel like it's really easy to like accumulate a really big group of mom friends, but you're
Mm-hmm.
never scratching the surface. Like
Yeah.
all you talk about is your kids and it is just all about
Yeah.
the kids. And like I said, that's one type of mom friend and that's okay. Sometimes like, it can be isolating for your kid too. Like it's good for kids to have social lives as well and to like
Yeah.
learn how to interact with other kids. So that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
you do like it's important to have those deeper friendships too. And
Yeah.
like you're getting something out of the friendship too versus just for your kid. So
Yeah. Especially the people you can be like, okay, so my week was horrible, so I need
yeah.
5 minutes to just vent and then I'll get
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
just being able to be vulnerable, I think is the first step. Like someone I guess all of my good friendships, that's where it like changed from that kind of surface level friendship to like
Mm-hmm.
that deep sisterhood friendship. Because like when you finally, yeah, share that, hey, I'm not perfect, my life isn't perfect, I'm struggling with this thing, that's
Mm-hmm.
when people are like, hey, me too, I'm not the only one. And then you
Yeah,
have like something deeper to connect on, and then it goes from there.
I agree. I'm all about the deeper conversations or
Yeah.
even just people willing to have them.
Hmm.
I will say there is one thing that I wasn't really a stickler about it before, and stickler is not the right word. Um, I'm a very outgoing person, and so I tend to attract more introverted people.
Oh,
And
okay.
because I can talk about rocks, literally. Like I can talk about whatever to keep a
Yeah.
conversation going. I
Yeah.
don't mind doing that. But I have noticed that it's not that I let friendships go, but if I feel like I'm always the one reaching out, I'm always the one initiating, I'm always the one asking how they're doing, remembering birthdays, remembering whatever, or hey, I know your kid had this. If I'm always the one initiating coffee dates, anything,
Hmm.
at that point I'm just like, okay, Like, is this even mutual at this point? And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard. It's really, really hard because a lot of times when they are more introverted, I think that they feel, um, I, they aren't as ready to just text and be like, hey, do you want to reach out? Because
Yeah.
I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of times they have 1,000 stories that they say in their head, like, oh, she's busy, or oh, she's blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. She'll reach out to me when she's not busy, you know?
Yep.
And I get that. But at some point, it's really hard to be always the one reaching out because I feel like it's not very mutual.
Yep.
And the one friend I was saying that I met when I was older, like I'm really old, but anyways, um, she will message me and be like, "Hey, I know you're really busy, but like next week, if things slow down, do you want to get coffee?"
Yeah.
Or vice versa, or something like that. I'll be like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in forever. What's going on?" And those are the friendships that I value and keep going because they also check in on you. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone said one time, no, not someone. I saw it on a meme. I just get my best life advice from memes. Just kidding. Um, and it was like, stop being the first one to always text and see who actually reaches out. And it's
Yeah.
true. And
It is true.
I don't
Like
know.
I think it's hard because introverts, like you said, they tend to be like, oh, well, like for them, they justify not reaching out because they're like, oh, well, they're busy. Like they don't really probably want to hang out with me that bad. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, the introverts I know in my life, which my husband is one of them, like
Hmm.
they're not usually the ones who are going to like reach out first all the time. And because again, they think in their heads that like, oh, maybe I'm being annoying. Oh, maybe like
Hmm.
they are just super busy, and yeah, they're extroverted, so they're the ones who are going to reach out to me when they have time.
Yeah.
But for us extroverts, because I'm extroverted too, it's like we need that reciprocation of like, oh, I
Yeah.
do care, like I do want to hang out with you, because like you said, I feel like you and I can talk about literally anything and just go on forever.
Yeah.
And so for us it's like easy to find things to talk about, and
Hmm.
we can go on forever. But for the introverted person, it's harder for them, so
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
And one thing that someone actually did this to me, and she's actually a client, which was really, really funny, but she voice messaged me one day and she was like, "How are you doing?" Not like your business, not like anything, just like, "How are you doing?" And I almost started crying. I just kind of sat down. I was
Oh,
like, I don't know. How am I doing? And I try to do that to all of my friends now because
yeah.
I realize, like, just that heartfelt, how are you doing? Like, not your kids, not your husband, not your business, not anything, not if your house is blowing up. Like, how are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that something as simple as that can go so far. So I also think, when you do have, I mean, this is supposed to be about finding mom friends, but if you have a good friend, I highly recommend taking a mental note to check in like that because it really
Mm-hmm.
does mean a lot to the other person.
Yeah, it's so true. Like that speaks volumes. I can definitely attest to that. And
Yeah.
also, like you had just said, like maybe this is supposed to be about more about finding mom friends, but I think it is worth mentioning like the friends you already have. Like it's okay to not have a ton of mom
Hmm.
friends. Like you don't need to
Yep.
have a huge group of friends. That's totally fine. But like put the effort and the value into the friendships you currently have.
Hmm.
And if you are a person who is like, I'm really isolated. I don't really have any good friends. I really don't have any mom friends right now that I can even put effort into. Like Leah had said earlier, the first step is just getting out the door, honestly. Like just get out the door. It's really easy to just be like make excuses for yourself, especially because you have a kid or you have multiple kids. Like it's, you're busy, and it's easy to be like, well, I have all this stuff going on. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. There's, I
Hmm.
could be doing the dishes. I could be doing my laundry. Guess what? The dishes and the laundry are going to be there tomorrow. It's okay. Like you
Sadly.
need to like have good friendships that keep you going, because at some point you're going to just wake up one day and be like, I'm exhausted. I feel super anxious. And it's really helpful to have people in your corner
Yeah.
to like get you out of that, because that's like Can be super isolating being a mom just at home with your kids all the time because they're not adults. So they can't
Yeah.
give you that same interaction, conversation, and like appreciation that another adult can.
No, I agree. And I think trying to think of the friends that I have met as an adult, not all of them are moms, but
Yeah.
I have found like going to an event or something maybe hosted by somebody you already know
Mm-hmm.
has been really helpful because let's say you know person A and you get along, pretty well with them, chances are person A is going to have friends that are probably somewhat similar in viewpoints
Mm-hmm.
that if you go to like, maybe they host a barbecue or a game night or something, you're probably going to meet some of their friends and maybe you'll click. Um, but one thing that I always like is I see someone and I'm like, oh, we would be really good friends. And then I just put the effort into that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it doesn't just happen naturally. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just see somebody and you're like, "Oh, they look fun and they look normal." And
Yeah.
I like how they do blah 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 blah. I think we would really get along and then just, invite them to coffee. Even if you're
Yeah.
sweating bullets, just be like,
Yes.
"Hey, like honestly, this is going to sound really weird, but I think we could be really good friends. Do you want to go get coffee?"
Yes. That's huge actually. And I have a very similar experience too. So that one really good mom friend I mentioned, you like we have our kids are like very close in age. She has another baby now, but she like we also went to high school together, not the same high
Hmm.
school Lee and I went to because I went to two different ones. But she and I like also like we got along in high school. We just never were like good friends. Not like we really hung out, but we like had a mutual like liking, respect of each
Hmm.
other, But like she ended up reaching out to me just on Instagram actually because she saw one time on my stories that I went for a run. And so she messaged me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go running together sometime?" And this is like we were just married. We weren't even pregnant yet. Like we were just
Hmm.
adults, whatever. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw in your stories that you like to go running, and I really want a running buddy. Do you want to go running with me?" And like that, it took her to like put in the effort to be like, "Hey, we have a common interest. Let's do it together. Or let's do something together." And now we're like super, super good friends. So
Hmm.
sometimes like you just have to be that first person to be like, "Hey, yeah, you look like you're cool and normal, and we have something in common. Let's do something." And then you might end up being really good friends.
Yeah, I honestly think that's the best policy. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just think I also I don't know. I feel the older I get, the more selective you are of your inner circle. And so I'm very much quality over quantity.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I don't need 10 friends.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a couple friends that when poop hits the fan, I'm trying to figure out what word to say there. They will be there,
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important. So I don't know, quality over quantity is extremely important to me
Mm-hmm.
and fostering those relationships. And yeah, I don't know. If I see someone that I think is a good friend, like would be a good friend, I'll be like, hey, you want to get coffee? But I have to say, if I've initiated quite a few times, and then they initiate one time and they're like, "Hey, do you want to get coffee?" I'm like, "Yes, I love you." Now we are like
Yeah.
true friends because I feel like it's mutual.
Right. Yes, exactly. I feel like
Uh,
that's pretty common for extroverts. Like we do need to feel like it's reciprocated and it's a mutual thing. Maybe that's anyone, honestly, introverts too, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm an extrovert, so I can only speak for myself. But
I
for
agree.
me it's the same way. Like I need to see that like you are wanting to like put in effort too.
Yeah. And also, you know, you need to give, 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 but you also need to fill up that cup. You need to get
Yeah.
some as well. And
Mhm.
so if you're always the one giving in the relationship, whether that's inviting, listening, anything, then it's draining. Not that I don't like love friends,
Yeah.
but
No, it's true.
it needs to be mutual. And so I am much more selective of that. And not that I'm like, oh, I let friends go, like we're still friends, but I
Right.
will say that I don't put as much effort into reaching out because it never seems to be reciprocated. But
Yeah.
I do have to say, if you are a more introverted person, reach out to your extroverted friend. They would probably appreciate it.
Yes, they would. Um, Another thing that I think is important to mention with mom friends specifically, like there has to be a mutual respect of not pushing your momming on them, because there are lots
Yeah.
of different ways to parent, and you have to realize like everyone is doing their best. Like everyone is doing what they think is the best for their kids, and you might disagree, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you can't be friends with them because you're going to parent a different way or you're going to discipline a different way in this area. That's totally fine. But I I honestly cannot be good friends with someone who's going to push their parenting on me. Like you need to I'm sorry, but that's just how I
Yeah.
am. Like I can respect you and I don't have to argue with you, but I am not then going to want to hang out with you all the time, because if you're just pushing your ideas on me of like, nope, this is
Hmm.
how you should parent, then I can't deal with that, honestly. Like I just can't. So I think
I
that's really
agree.
important, is like it's okay to differ on parenting ideas. That's everyone's going to have something that they don't necessarily like agree 100% on, but don't be pushy. Like you need to respect each other's idea, like viewpoints, and be like, you know what? I'm not so and so's mom, you are. And God made you their mom and you're the best mom for them. So that's awesome for you, but that doesn't work for me. And that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I
Yeah.
hate pushy moms.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sorry. I was just thinking of situations and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Then it really hits you. You're like, oh, yeah.
Literally, I remember one situation where that happened, and I don't think it even had much to do with parenting. It was just some lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
And she said something, and immediately my whole brain attitude was like, yeah, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
Like, not that I'm trying to be like mean, because
Right.
it's not that I'm saying, oh, I'm judgmental of whatever.
Right.
I know that I could never have a close friendship with someone that was
Pushing.
constantly being like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want you to tell me what to do. I just want you to listen to me say that this was hard.
Right. I don't
Uh,
necessarily need a solution.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like for the past 10 minutes, I've sounded super judgmental. I promise I love people and I love friends. I think that it's important to choose your friends wisely.
Yeah.
And I think that you should get out and get friends, but I don't think that you should just have friends for the sake of having friends. I
Yeah.
think it is important to protect your energy, and keep your inner circle that you rely on for strength, spiritual help, growth, all of that kind of stuff, to keep that small, because
Mm-hmm.
I want them to keep you accountable and help you grow. Like sometimes I need the friend to be like, okay, I know this is really, really hard, but I'm going to be honest. I think you just kind of need to do this,
Yeah.
instead of just being like, oh, you're amazing. The other person was totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're awesome. I don't need that. I can tell myself that.
Yeah. No, and I don't think you sound judgy. I think that you just have to stick to your values, and you do that. Like, and that's super important. Like, you have to protect your values and stick to them and have boundaries too. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're not saying don't have friends
Yeah.
at all. Like, it's important to have good friends, but emphasis on the good friends. You just don't want like a million, not a
Yeah.
million. You don't want like a huge group of friends who were just kind of like superficial and you never scratch the surface and there's really
Hmm.
nothing else deeper there.
Quality over quantity, but get out of the house. I'm
Yeah.
going to say that to myself. Get out of the
Yeah.
house. And I think going to an event that another friend is hosting is always a good idea to meet
Yeah.
some. And then if you have mom friends already, check in on them,
Hmm.
hold them close. They're precious.
Yeah. To keep us
That's,
sane.
yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yep. Same here. Because I can't just be alone in this momming thing because it's hard enough.
Oh, I know. You get in your head about everything.
Yep.
All right, ladies. Well, if you have any tips about finding mom friends, please share, because obviously, we could all use some more tips
Yeah.
on
I
how to
know.
find some mom friends.
Yep. Exactly.
Thank you for listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Just Between Us Women podcast, and we absolutely would love to hear from you.
If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend and be sure to share it to your Instagram story and tag us so we can see.
You can expect episodes every Tuesday.